Hello, and welcome back to Gaz's Gaming Revival Guide. I apologise, it's been a little while. After my last video, I decided I want to go in that sort of direction where I give more of an in-depth talk about certain games rather than just, having a little mess about, not knowing what I'm doing and waste a lot of time. And I managed to get over 500 views for that. I didn't even realize. My friend had to tell me. So yeah, I appreciate anyone who did watch the video, like it, and comment. It really is appreciated. And you know what they say? They say once a video starts to work, you sort of go down that route. So yeah, we're going to do that. I have got another game this week. It's not an early access game. It's not a hidden gem, but I thought it'd be good to make a review about this because it's recently gone on deal for very, very cheap. My friend got me to buy it with him, and I've had a lot of fun on it. And I think it's a game a lot of people, including myself, wrote off because of its history, because of the bad reviews for it. And that game is Battlefield 2042. Now, this game had a very rocky start. I've always been more of a Battlefield lover than a Call of Duty lover. I do play the Call of Duty games sometimes. I did play Warzone and stuff, but yeah, I've always preferred Battlefield. So when I saw the reviews for this, which were very, very bad, and then there was talk about them abandoning the game and stuff, I never really gave it a chance. But I heard that the developers have been working on it ever since, and yeah, so I'm going to give a quick review on it. So, not just a review, sorry. I'm going to be going into some pros, some cons. I'm going to give you some hints and tips, and then I'll do my little review, and then I shall do my quote of the week, or shall we call it month now? But yeah, that's sort of the direction I want to go. Maybe post a bit less, but do give myself some more time to play the game, get more feel for the game, and give some more information out about it. So, let's start with the pros. So, first pro, it looks decent. It's a good looking game. You know, Battlefields have always been a good looking game. They've done well at that. Yeah, it looks really nice. It's a nice setting. I like it. We're going to go over these quite fast because I've got quite a lot to get through. The next pro is the vehicle cooling. So in this Battlefield now, I know this one was a problem at the beginning because you had about 100, bloody 20, 40, 50 hovercrafts all being dropped at the same time, but they've worked this out quite well now in that when you're in the middle of nowhere and you want to get into battle fast, you can get a vehicle drop in. You do have to wait like maybe 20, 30 seconds for it, but yeah, I think that's really good. Like there's been a couple of times where I've quickly just dropped a hovercraft or a car and I've quickly just zoomed into a position I want to be in, and then I'm there already whenever you start to feel like you're out of the battle and you need some more action. And next pro is the multiple weapon attachments in game. And what I mean by this in game is the emphasis on that sentence is that unlike Call of Duty, when you pick your attachments and stuff, you're then stuck with them for the game. If you don't like them, you've got to wait to the next game. In this now, you can pick multiple attachments that you can quick select. So like a few scopes, like a long distance scope or short distance scope, and then you can just switch between them while you're playing in game. So you can get a feel for the attachments and see what you like. And yeah, I really like this. This was good. This one was mentioned quite a lot. My friends like this as well. Next pro, we've got yeah, shooting feels good most of the time. When this game first came out, a lot of people complaining that the hit markers were completely off. The guns felt very fluffy. They felt underpowered. Some of them felt overpowered, and yeah, they just didn't feel great overall. This, my opinion, is I like it. I think it feels good. I think it feels good when you knock someone, and I think it feels good when you kill someone. Blah blah blah. But yeah, I like it. Okay, next is oh they've added some of the old Battlefield maps, which I really love. Like, and it's nice to like, it's nice to play the old ones like you used to, but with new guns and more players back on it again. So yeah, they've got some of the old Battlefield maps in there, which I really like. Okay, next one is 128 players on the battlefield. So they have doubled the amount of players, and I thought this was going to be a bit too hectic for me. And don't get me wrong, on some maps it is a bit too hectic, but overall, I really liked it. There's even though you die a lot, well, I die a lot. I'm not very good at the game. Um, you also get a lot of kills. You get a lot more opportunities. There's a lot more explosions, a lot more action going about, and you know, and if you're doing quite badly, just jump in a tank and you start owning people. You start getting those kills in and assists and whatever have you. So yeah, I really like the big player battles now. And next one is quick entry to matches. I found with my friends and playing on my own. Right now, the background footage is me playing on my own on my Xbox rather than playing on my PC with my friends. I found with my friends on the PC, I'm not waiting any longer than, I think the longest we waited is 2 minutes, which is nothing really. Usually though, on average, less than a minute, probably 50 seconds it takes to get into a game. And quite a lot of the time it's been at the beginning of the game. So yes, it's all been quite good in that half. I think some people may have problems depending on your broadband and your computer and stuff. But yeah, I found it fine so far. Next one. The amount of unlocks, it makes it feel very rewarding. So when you're playing the game, you find that after pretty much every map, you're unlocking ribbons, and I don't think the ribbons really mean much, but I don't know, they just feel rewarding at the same time. But you're unlocking guns each level you go up. You unlock new skins for your specialists, which we'll go over soon, and you're unlocking, if you're using the same weapon over and over again, you unlock lots of attachments for it. So you're always unlocking something. There's always something new to look at. Yes, I really like that. Assists are counted as the same as kills as the next one. Yeah, so a lot of people may not like this. I really liked it. The amount of times I'm playing games like this and I've done 90% damage on someone and someone's taken the kill at the last second, and I've got like 10 XP for the assist and they've just got like 100 XP for the kill. Whilst now I think it's like 50 XP for the assist and 50 XP for the kill. So for me, I think that's more, it's more encouraging to work as a team as well. So rather than trying to get it, running ahead of people, standing in front of people's scopes, trying to get the kill in before they do or whatever, I think it lets you work as a team a bit more. I jump on mounted guns sometimes and I'm gunning like excuse me, 10 different people at a time, and then others pick them off and I'm getting the XP for it. It's good XP, I like it. Next is land vehicles are not too overpowered. So the tanks, the cars, the hovercrafts and stuff, don't get me wrong, the tanks can do some serious damage, like one-hit kills and stuff, but they can be taken out. Most people will have some sort of anti-vehicle weapon, grenades, rocket launchers, mines, wherever have you, and it takes like some of the big tanks, I think it takes like 4 to 5 shots with an explosive, but some of the smaller ones are only like 2 shots, and I think that's quite good. So they do a lot of damage, but at the same time they're not just completely wiping out whole teams and whole squads constantly. Next on the pros, we've got the guns aren't too different in stats. So at first I didn't like this because I was like, oh well, what's the point of me using this gun when the stats aren't that much better? But at the same time I like it because I've joined the game very late. Some of these people are very high levels, and what would be really annoying is if their skill was the same as mine, but because they got a better weapon of me, I'm getting killed constantly by them. So what actually brings the stats up is the attachments that you get for that gun for working on that gun as well. So yeah, I like the fact that they are, don't get me wrong, you get some better weapons than you start off with, and there are 1 or 2 very high powered weapons, but they're not too different, and they all have their downfalls as well. So yeah, and then the next one is the portal mode. Like, I'm sure a lot of people heard about the portal mode, and I think it's got a lot of potential. So I've seen a lot of games where which is set in current time Afghanistan, so it's on an Afghanistan map with current weapons and stuff. I've seen some like World War One, World War Two games, and it just lets you play all the older battlefields really, and just enjoy the past ones and enjoy a bigger selection of guns. And I think I think this could go far. I think people could start making some really quirky scenarios, and I'd like to see where that goes. Next one is no skill-based lobbies. So all the lobbies are completely random. I always remember in the Call of Duties, I'd start off, I'd think I'm the absolute shit. I think I'm really good. I'm coming in the top of the charts constantly. Then I'd get to a certain level and suddenly I'm coming last every game. Because I'm not a pro player. I've said this many times. I'm a very casual player. So in this, you get very mixed lobbies. You get some really good players and you get some really bad players and you get some okay players. So I like that a lot. And the very last of the pros is that overall, I think it's just a fun, not too, you don't have to use too much for your brain, just a good, fun arcade shooter. Okay, so there are all my pros of the games. And next, we're going to move on to the cons. So let's go with the biggest one, crashes after updates. Now, I didn't understand some of the reviews on this that was still complaining about people crashing and how unstable the game was. I never had a problem. And then I encountered an update, and I've been getting, me and one of my friends have been getting black screen after every map, or I've only had it twice, but I think he's had it multiple times. And then you have to try take all the overloads off, take all the settings off, change this, change that. So the fact it's still unstable in that way can be a bit annoying, but it's not the end of the world. There is still some bugs. I haven't encountered too many bugs. I think one of the ones I've encountered is a delay. Sometimes, like, I'll duck and cover behind something, and suddenly I'll die behind the cover the object I'm covering behind, and I'm thinking, how the hell did I get shot here? But it's because they were shooting at me as I was sliding for it, or whatever. And then one that my friends have both had to deal with is a bit of a sticky mouse, is what they said. They seem to, it's not very reactive to the mouse, if that makes sense. I can't explain it too well because it didn't happen to me. Next con is I do not like most of the new maps. Now, what they've tried to do is that they've tried to compress the size of the maps in order to force more action. But at the same time is that they've expanded it more vertically. And it looks cool, and some of the moments are cool when you're skydiving off these cliffs and you're jumping off these cranes and you get good position and whether have you, but a lot of the time it's very much sniper's paradise. You want to get into some boots from the ground action, you're ducking and covering, you're on a bit of a killing spree, and then you got like six snipers shooting at you at the same time, and you can't hit them unless you go as a sniper class and you get your sniper out and you take them out, and then you just go straight back up there. So I don't really like the new maps. I find a lot of the new maps are very much the same. They're like two big main buildings, a couple little buildings around it, and a bit of rubble here and there. I don't find them very exciting, and I don't find them very good. Next con is no server browser, so that leads to the maps as well. I'd like to go in the server browser, and be able to pick my game. And the next con on that is just it's just adding on to that is that the maps can be repetitive, which is why I want the server browser. So because there's not a whole load of maps, you do end up doing quite a lot of the same map if you are on here for a good few hours. And like I said, if you don't like some of the maps, like I don't, like especially in the new ones, it can be a bit annoying. So you can't even choose. So you just get thrown into a game. It's like, oh. And if you back out and try to get into another game, you end up getting thrown into the same game again. Okay. But yeah, so that's my rant about the maps. Another con, which doesn't really bother me, but I think it bothers a lot of people, I think it's more on the money side of things, is, and not just the money side, some people just prefer this, but there's no single player. You can play single player against bots and things, on the usual Conquer and Rush and whatever have you, but there's no real single player for story, and I know a lot of people like that. It doesn't really bother me, but I thought I'd put it on the cons, speak for the people. Uh, right, the next con is the spawn system isn't great. So there's been many a time where I'm trying to spawn in one of my friends, one of my squad, and I spawn in, and the moment I spawn, I'm just shot straight away. So I get spawn killed. That's happened quite a few times. Another thing that's happened quite a few times is that I've tried to spawn on them, and for some reason it spawned me the other side of the map. I think that still needs working on. But overall, it's not too bad. It's better than it is bad. Next one is This one I can't really comment on much, but I haven't heard good about it. I'm just going off what other people have said about it. Apparently, the Hazard Zone, which is a new mode to Battlefield, is supposed to be like the DMZ mode in Call of Duty, but so I've heard so far, it's lacking in content and lacking in players because of that. So I think the DMZ mode in Call of Duty Warzone was done very well. Um, and I just can't imagine. It's not really fair for me to say because I haven't played it, but I just can't imagine this is going to be any better than that. I haven't heard anything about it, but I've just heard most people don't bother with it. Um, okay, next con is air vehicles are a bit overpowering. Uh, there's a lot of players on here who have seemed to got to grips with the control of the helicopters and stuff, and when they do, it's just repetitive flyovers, wipe out a squad, flyovers, wipe out a squad, fly. Yeah, you get the picture. But yeah, they can be a bit much sometimes. You get to the point where it's like you're screaming down the mic, "Someone take out the fucking helicopter!" But yeah, it can be a bit annoying, especially the new like hover helicopters, which like turn into a plane. I don't know what they're called, but yeah, so they can literally hover, drop bombs and bullets, and then suddenly speed off like a jet. They can be quite irritating, and it's quite hard to hit them, as you can imagine, because they go so fast. Okay, next con is so the hazard zone and the portal mode, which is what I mentioned in the pros. I'm going to put it in the cons as well. In order for the developers to work at the game and work out the bugs and make it a better game, they've had to push those two to a side at the minute, which probably explains the no content for the hazard zone. So at the moment, not a lot is going on with them. And in fact, when you go in the server browser, there is a server browser for portal mode, by the way. When you go in the server browser for portal mode, a lot of the servers have just been turned into like double XP, triple XP, just a lot of XP farming now. So because they're just not paying, the developers aren't paying attention to that part of the game anymore in order to get the base of the game back to what it should be, back to a Battlefield, which I can respect because Portal's very ambitious, but it has to be in the con still. You don't know if it's going to get picked up from there. Okay, next con is right. So the weather system in this was supposed to be like the game-changing thing. So there's been a game-changing thing in like every Battlefield that can completely turn the match around. Whether it's a certain building coming down, like some of the towers in Battlefield 4 and stuff. But yeah, the weather system in this was supposed to be able to completely switch the roles of who's holding what positions and stuff. It's cool. The first time you see it, it's pretty awesome. Like when the twister comes, or the whatever tornado you want to call it, and you're in a vehicle and you start flying around, it's quite funny, but it really doesn't make much of a difference. In fact, like they can be quite loud and they can just sort of ruin the gameplay. Sometimes you can't hear anything, you can't see anything, especially when you try to clutch something, and it doesn't really like switch the game around. It just makes it annoying. It's not really it can be there, it can not be there. It wouldn't make a difference to the game for me, anyway. Um, okay, and the last con I've got is the Confusion scoreboard. Now, this is my last one because it's a little bit of a pro as well at the same time. So the Confusion scoreboard, I don't know what the hell is going on with it. I'm sure you probably see it in some of my gameplay, but if you can try figure it out, then by all means leave a comment to explain it to me because I got no idea what it means. And the reason I say it could be a bit of a pro as well is if I have a really bad game, I don't have to see how many times I died and I don't have to see how little kills I've gotten. Yeah, so that is all my pros and cons for the game. Okay, moving on to some hints and tips. Now, as I mentioned, I'm not very good at this game. I've got my own little hints and tips that may help you, but I have had to watch some videos in order to get some better ones, some people who actually play well and know what they're talking about. One of the people I've watched on hints and tips is someone called Enders FPS. I will link their YouTube below. I appreciate your videos. Thank you. I've taken some tips out of your videos. I hope that's okay. But at least it helps some people watch your mine that haven't seen yours. But please go over, watch his content as well. If you're more interested in Battlefield, he goes into a lot more depth. So yeah. Okay, so hints and tips. Number one, using burst fire to prevent bullet spread. So a lot of the guns in there, especially when you're first starting off, seem to have a lot of bullet spread. Some of the guns have a burst fire mode. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is rather than holding and clicking something like an LMG and then the bullets going everywhere, just do short bursts. And when I say short bursts, I don't mean like, like minuscule bursts where it's like bang, 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 bang. That literally just hold it for a little bit, let go, hold it for a little bit, let go, just so you can steady your aim. So yeah, just do small bursts at people, and you'll find that your reticule, is that how you say it? Your crosshair will stay on them a lot more often. Number two, uh, apply multiple scopes in your attachments. So for my attachments, I've got a close quarters one, and then I've got a like a red dot or something, or a holographic. And then I've also got like a 4.5 times as well. Depending on what gun you're using, I usually use rifles, assault rifles, which, are a bit of a medium gun but can be used at long range, especially if you change it to single fire. So you can just switch between them. So when you're running in and capturing, you can switch to your close scope. And then when you're sitting back and trying to take somewhere over or defend something, you can switch to your long scope. So yeah, always have a couple different scopes and attachments ready for your situation that you get put in. Excuse me. Number three is, I think this battlefield, I can't remember the last battlefields, but this one encourages you to capture points a bit more. So rather than just going for the kills all the time, go for the captures. If you're not very good at killing, you're not very good at the guns, you still need to kill people in order to level up your guns. But if you're looking for more points area, go for the captures. Yeah, so that's what I usually go for. I go for the captures and I just defend my spot, and I usually get kills when I'm doing it because the captures get you a lot more points, and you usually get and like I said about the scoreboard, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because you can't see your kills. Okay, so let's go into my usual quick review. So let's start with graphics. As I mentioned before, I think the game is very graphically good. Is it life changing? Is it the next generation? Is it the next level of graphics? No, it's just a good graphic arcade shooter. So I've given that an 8 out of 10. Next is atmosphere. Now playing, it's a war game. It sounds and feels as it should be. You get moments in where you're in a bit of a barren area and you're a bit hidden in the woods, whatever. It goes a bit quiet, and then you're in moments where it's just full out chaos. So I think the atmosphere is set pretty good. I think the atmosphere feels pretty good. Sorry. So I've given that an 8 out of 10 as well. Map design or map designs. So as I've mentioned in my cons and pros, so I like the old Battlefield maps. I'm not too sure on the new Battlefield maps. Now I have to sway more towards the new Battlefield maps because in terms of it being in the cons, because they didn't design these old maps. Well, they did, but you know what I mean. Like, this is a new game. I'm focusing on the new maps and stuff, and like I said, the maps are quite repetitive. There's not that many coming out at the moment because they're trying to work on the base game. So for me, until they start bringing out more maps and more different types of maps, and they improve on the newer ones and not just using the old ones, I have given that a 6 out of 10. Right, new player friendly. Now, if you're a Battlefield player, it has got it back to the point where it feels like a Battlefield again. So I think a lot of people say, yeah, it's easy to start playing again. But for someone who doesn't play the Battlefields, or someone like me who hasn't played them for a long time or isn't very good, then jumps back in, it can be very difficult. Like I said, even with the map designs with the snipers and not knowing what weapon you want to use and just learning the menus itself, it can be a little bit difficult. And the game overall can be a bit difficult. I never do that good. So yeah, I'm basing it off of how bad I am, really. So I've given that a 6 out of 10. But yeah, this is for new players, and that's what it's rated on, as new players coming in. So if I'm not very good, then people who haven't played it before, it's going to be, I've given it a 6 out of 10. So I think that's fair. Game hours, amount of hours you can play. So now this should be a very high score because these are the sorts of games you can play over and over and over again because you're unlocking things all the times, and and every game's different. But at the same time, like I said in the cons, the maps are quite repetitive. You do a lot of the same maps a lot of the times. There's been many a time I've looked at a map and gone, oh, I'm not sure I can be asked to do this. And I've only stayed on because my other two friends are on. If I'm playing on my own, then sometimes I just exit and I shut it down. But overall, you know, without the single player as well, you can still put a lot of time into it. But I've given that a 7 out of 10. I think that's pretty fair for that. Would I play again? 9 out of 10. So with that one now, the reason I didn't give it a 10 out of 10, because I know I'm going to play it straight after this, really, is because I can't remember why I gave it a 9 out of 10, to be honest with you. I think I gave it a 9 out of 10. Is because, yeah, would I play again? It's because, yes, I'm going to play it again, but would I, if the maps don't change or not much has changed, then I can see myself getting a bit bored of it. We'll see. So, yeah, I gave it that point off just because of that. So, the overall score is 44 out of 60. Not my best rated game, not my worst rated game, but overall, Battlefield 2042 has improved massively. Is it the perfect Battlefield? Is it the best Battlefield? No. Is it a good arcade shooter that you can have a lot of fun on and waste some hours on and look forward to playing when you're just in that sort of mood for those full action games? Yes, it's a good game. I'm enjoying it. I'm going to play it. And for, I think it's like £8, £9 it's on sale for on Steam at the moment. For that price, you can't go wrong. It's one of the better games out there when it comes to vehicles and big player battlefields. And yeah, no pun intended. Is that a pun? I don't know. But yeah, so anyway, so yeah, that's my overall score, 44 out of 60. And maybe some of you agree, maybe some of you disagree. I'd love to hear what you think yourselves. I know there's a lot of hate for this game still, but I know there's a lot of new love for this game. So yeah, let me know in the comments. That'd be great. Okay. So now we're going to go for a quote of the week. A mental health quote of the week. Those of you who've watched my videos know I do this at the end of all my videos. And the whole point of my channel is I was trying to find love for gaming again, because I've sort of, as I've gotten older, and you know, I think everyone suffers a bit of mental health, but I struggle with mine, and I sort of lost my love for gaming. I'm trying to find games to just get me back into the gaming world again that I enjoy, and hopefully I can share that with you. But focusing on mental health at one point in the video is very important to me as well, and hopefully my opinions and what I have to say about these quotes, or even the quotes themselves, can speak to people in certain ways. And you know, if you want to discuss in the comments, I'm up for that as well, but I'll have to get some more views before people start interacting with that part. But anyway, here we go. So our mental health quote of the week is by Tom Hardy, and he says, quote, "Being alone for a long period of time is dangerous. It gets addicting. Once you see how peaceful it is, you don't want to deal with people anymore." End quote. Now, this quote to me is a positive and a negative. And the way I've experienced this quote, the reason why I've chosen it, because I've experienced it myself, is that I went for a long period of time where I moved house on my own, and I spent most of the weeks not really speaking to anyone apart from at work. For me, I like to separate work from pleasure, so they're not people that I talk to outside of work. So I was coming home every night, not speaking to anyone. I could go all weekends without talking to anyone. The point where I really started to love my own time. And yes, he's absolutely right. It gets very addicting. You know, I used to love going out. I used to be a very social person, but now I look forward to having a weekend where I just chill in the house, don't have to deal with people's shit, don't have to deal with drama, don't have to deal with life itself, and I can just escape, and I'm in my safe space, and I enjoy my own time. And I've learned to love myself a lot better. I've learned a lot about myself and how I feel and what I mean when I feel that way. And yeah, I think it's really important to do that, especially when it comes to relationships. You want to love, as cheesy as it sounds, you want to love yourself before you can share your love with anybody else. Um, and that is where the cons can come in, is when it comes to when you're trying to form this new relationship with someone. Now, I've had previous experiences where, because I'm so at peace on my own, that whenever those relationships bring anything other than peace, my mental state is just to completely zone out of it, completely just shut down and just go, right, don't need this, don't want that. And I feel like sometimes I lost a little bit of empathy during that as well. Um, rather than try to sort out the situations, I just completely back out. And I feel like even at work, to be honest with you, like I won't stand up for what is right for myself and that sometimes, because I've just really started to hate having. I've really started to hate confrontation because of all that time I spent alone, and I've avoided that confrontation. But I'm with, I'm in a not a new relationship. I'm 6 months into a relationship now, and I'm learning a lot more about uh, what I need to do and stuff. And I don't feel that way of this relationship, because I feel like it is finding the right person. And I don't shut down anymore. Like, I do make sure that you're hitting that middle mark. Like, you do have to understand, like, it does take a while to get back into when you've been on your own for a long time, and then suddenly you're in a relationship where you're almost never alone, because even if you're not together, you're always messaging and stuff. It's very life changing. It's very, like, you actually step back, and it's a bit of a shock to the system what's going on. But like, my girlfriend's very good, and we work together, we talk together, and we talk about our feelings all the time, and we communicate really well. So it's all about that, really. It's just communicating that, and just being upfront, and being like, listen, I'm not used to this, so just excuse me if I'm this way. But you've also got to make that effort as well, which is what I'm learning a lot more now, like taking that initiative a bit more, and showing that you're making the effort to improve that as well. You can still love your own time, of course you can, but at the same time, if you're going to bring someone else into your life, you need to communicate that with them. You need to say, oh, I'm just having some time to myself today, nothing's wrong between us, I just need a bit of a refresh time from work, because I've had a hard week and stuff. So yeah, so that's why I think that quote, it can be good and it can be bad. You need to find a bit of a middle ground. You don't want to be on your own all the time. It can be a bit detrimental. I can't say it, to your mental health in other ways as well. But at the same time, you need to find a way to love yourself, and that's the best way to do it, is spend a lot of time on your own. So find that middle ground. Anyway, so that is my video of the week. I hope you enjoyed everything. I hope it helped people in any certain way. I'd love for people to comment and people to subscribe and just watch it, basically, because I really enjoy doing these videos, and I enjoy sharing my thoughts, especially the mental health part. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you for the next one.